Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and we are back with more news and politics for the day Friday, December the 8th, 2023. Now, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and be a bit late on this because I didn't get started till quite a later than usual on putting this together. But that's all right. We start out with an article from The Lever. Private prison firms are set to cash in on immigrant surveillance boom. Companies are salivating over the proposal to electronically track millions of people caught up in the U.S. immigration system. As the country's immigration agency ponders a significant expansion of its vast troubled immigrant and surveillance regime, private prison companies are telling investors that the proposal could bring significant profits and are deploying lobbyists to try to fund it. So again, it don't matter that we're dealing with people. It's profits for these damn corporations. They see an opportunity to make more money. It's one of the reasons private prisons shouldn't be a thing. We've got way too big of a prison population for the size of the U.S. Way too fucking big. We jail a bigger percentage of population than other countries do. Yet, oh, we're the freest country in the world. Yeah. 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 What was I looking at? Oh, yeah, this. In the 1960s through 1970s, the Indian Health Service forcefully or manipulatively sterilized 25 to 50% of Native American women as young as 11-year-old. Why? Was there any Native resistance? Whatever happened to the survivors? Yeah, this kind of shit, you think late 1800s, early 1900s. Oh, that's why when we were trying to take over all the Americas, we pretty much had it cornered down and put them on reservations. No, guess what? It wasn't that long ago. We were still doing things to the population. There's always more that can be said, but you may find the extensive answer from Snapshot 52 Reddit on the issue helpful. Get into some of this history to get into some of this history in an answer about a Yellowstone episode that touched on a forced sterilization of Native women and girls. Holy shit, this is appalling. Thanks for linking this. I've never really heard about this before. Because of a lot of what America does is often hidden in shadows. We didn't even know about just how what happened in Tulsa with the bombing of African American neighborhoods. So, I mean, is it any wonder the the American government, unfortunately, should always be looked at with suspicion because it's done nothing but prove itself a bit shady, to say the least. The first reply exemplifies what makes this subreddit what it is. The way the question was phrased was just awful and wasn't upvoted well. And a knowledgeable person took the time to write an essay for them. This sub is a shining spot on the internet. Quick meta question, don't know if it's allowed. What are the answers sometimes linked? Why are the answers sometimes linked and other times linked with the old Reddit URL? Talking about Reddit usage. Let's see what they say. So, from the context of your post, I feel like you're asking this sincerely. I'd like to start by saying successful isn't a good word of use. Perhaps it wasn't your intention, but using the word success carries with it a connotation of justification. These types of programs are never justified. A brief discussion about it about this was had just the other day about the Nazi eugenics programs. Alright, let's break it down now. U.S. eugenics programs. Term eugenics was coined in 1883 by Francis Galton. It was closely related to Darwinism and essentially advocates the framework of ideas that genes can be manipulated to produce a better population by controlled breeding. This notion became popular in the United States during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, lasting even up through the 1870s. Or even up to the 1970s, People ranging from political figures and scientists to your average individual adopted this ideology, one that was grounded in perceived conceptions of race. As noted in the first cited reference, this was on the thought of eugenics by Henry F. Osborn, then president of the American Museum of Natural History in New York in 1921. In the U.S., we are slowly waking to the consciousness that education and environment do not fundamentally alter racial values. We are engaged in a serious struggle to maintain our historic Republican institutions through barring the entrance of those unfit to share in the duties and responsibilities of our well-funded government. It is a matter of racial virtues. In my opinion, is that from biological principles, there is little promise in the melting pot theory. Put three races together, Caucasian, Mongolian, and Negroid, you are likely to unite the vices of all three as the virtues. For the world's work gave me a pure-blooded ascertain through observation and experimentation about each race is best fitted to accomplish. If the Negro fails in government, he may become a fine agriculturalist or a fine mechanic. The right of the state to safeguard the character and integrity of the race or races on which its future depends is, to my mind, as contestable as the right of the state to safeguard the health and morals of its peoples. So, yeah, as we know, if you weren't aware of eugenics already, it is very rooted in racist ideologies. It very much is the idea of, well, clearly this race is better, so we want to keep them clean. And honestly, yeah, we, thank God, most of us at least, understand that's bullshit. But yeah, eugenics became an excuse to do so much bullshit. Programs of eugenics in the United States became a big deal. Compulsory sterilization laws adopted by over 30 states, and there is evidence of eugenics in all 50. The renown of the U.S. eugenics program was widespread. It was even commented on by Hitler in his book Mein Kampf, where he notes in his chapter denoting the importance of race to citizenship. At the present, there exists one state which manifests at least some modest attempts to show a better appreciation of how things ought to be done in this matter. It is not, however, in our model German Republic, but in the USA, that efforts are made to conform, at least partly, to the counsels of common sense by refusing immigrants to enter there if they are in a bad state of health, and by excluding certain races from the right to become naturalized as citizens. They have begun to introduce principles similar to those on which we wish to ground the people's state. Yeah. See, this is the kind of stuff even Hitler was like, see, this is common sense. This makes sense. And it was things America was doing. Like I said, there is so much bullshit in American history. And it often gets swept under the rug. Paul Propino comments in volume 25 of the Journal of Hereditary under the German sterilization law by saying, while the German law is well drawn and in form may be considered better than the sterilization laws of most American states, the success of such measure naturally depends on conservative, sympathetic, and intelligent administration. The American College of Physicians denotes the similarities between the Nazi and American eugenics sterilization programs. Yeah. Sterilization of American Indians. The programs run by the United States specifically targeted people or multiple groups of people, ranging them from mentally ill and disabled to those of disadvantaged and marginalized social groups. One of those groups included the one group of people the United States had and still has an obligation of the highest degree toward: the American Indians. The Indian Health Service is a federally run service for American Indians and Alaska Natives. It is obviously responsible for providing proper health care for Native peoples as established via the treaties and trust relationship between tribes and the U.S. government. However, on November the 6th, 1976, the Government Accounting Office, GAO, released the results of an investigation that concluded that between 1973 and 76, the Indian Health Services performed 3,406 sterilizations on Native American women. Per capita, this figure would be equivalent to sterilizing 452,000 non-Native American women. So think about that. That's the kind of impact it had. Those are war death numbers. I mean, honestly. According to the above article, many of those sterilizations were conducted without the consent of women being sterilized or under coercion. Table 1 on page 503 of the article from the American Indian Quarterly shows a steep decline in birth rates among several Native American tribes. The journal denotes many of the issues that arose in the Indian Health Services protocol for administering these sterilizations. It says, the report stated that the violations occurred because some Indian Health Service physicians did not completely understand the regulations, and contract physicians were not required to adhere to the regulations. The GAO discovered that the sterilization consent forms used did not comply with HEW regulations, and the IHS medical providers used several different forms. The majority of the forms did not indicate the basic elements of informed consent had been presented orally to the patient, contain written summaries of the oral presentation, and contain a statement at the top of the form notifying the subjects of their right to withdraw consent. And that's just the summation. The following judges detail how jacked up the IHS procedures were. While the journal notes that the GAO did not verify if the sterilizations were truly performed without consent, there were certainly many circumstances that would have led to that result. The sterilized women were not even interviewed. But I'll go ahead and end the reading on that here. I'll post these in the description box below the video if you want to read them yourself. But, yeah. Like I said, there's so much bullshit that went on in American history that people just don't seem aware of. Now, this is from Data is Beautiful. 8 perfect shuffles? Shuffling a deck of cards perfectly 8 times will return it to the original order. It seems remarkable, but here is a visual proof. Movement of the cards might not fit here, but thought they would share. Yeah. They talk about the number of decks. Um, but essentially, it's called a Pharaoh Shuffle, and it's a lot easier than you would initially think. I got it down in 30 minutes. It is definitely a lot easier if they use a newer deck of cards. You also need to know the difference between an in Pharaoh and an out Pharaoh. The difference is whether or not you keep the top and bottom cards at their place. You can do both, but if you don't keep the top and bottom card at their place, you will have to do 52 Pharaoh shuffles. You can also do a combination of in and out Pharaoh shuffles to place any card at any location. So, yeah. But essentially, they show the math here. 52 cards greater than 51, which is an even divisor of 255, which is one less than 256, which equates to 2 to the power of 8, which is where the 8 comes from. Albeit this is only for ideal riffle shuffles, where the top card stays on the top permanently. So, yeah, it's noting that essentially one card stays in proper place. So it's like taking the top card, turning it over, and then shuffling the deck um, 8 times in a perfect shuffle, which will equate to bringing it back to its original formation. If I'm understanding that right. But yeah, it's interesting nonetheless. Now let's get us some pictures here throughout history. This is an image. First Lady Dolly Madison with her niece Anne Payne in 1848. Remember, Dolly Madison, First Lady, wife of James Madison, who was President 4 or 5. I always get Monroe and Madison mixed. I don't know why. But anyway, she was the First Lady during the War of 1812 when Britain came back and roundly kicked us in the backside. Technically, yes, we got independence, but then when Britain had time to actually do something and focus on it, it beat our tail end. Because you have to realize what they were essentially doing is they were conscripting American sailors to be in their navy, saying, I don't care where you're from, you're going to work for us as one of our own sailors. But yeah, Dolly Madison was the First Lady at that time. And of course, the famous saying is that, oh, she ran from the burning of the White House with the painting of George Washington. You know, that's an old tale. But yeah. Here is an image. Comanche Chief Quanah Parker with a portrait of his mother, Cynthia Ann Parker, and his sister, Prairie Flower. Toposina, or Toposina, in native dress with a breastplate and holding feathers. 1892. So yeah. We get a good look at the Comanche chief there. But yeah, now let's get into some actual stories. Yesterday I mentioned a judge granting a woman the right to have an abortion in Texas, even though Texas has officially made themselves anti-abortion. Ken Paxton steps in and asks the court to stop a Texas woman from getting an abortion. Now, the court he's talking about, the Texas Supreme Court, basically going to the top of the Texas line to try to stop it. The state attorney's general petition comes after a Travis County district judge cleared the way for Kate Cox, 31, to terminate her pregnancy. So a judge says, yes, go ahead, have a pregnancy. Now the state attorney general, being the little bitch he is wanting the Supreme Court, the Texas Supreme Court, to stomp it out. And it's not just, oh, you want an abortion? Sure. No, it's the fact that it wasn't a viable pregnancy. They knew it wasn't going to live. But Paxton don't care. He wants her to carry a fetus that won't live inside her just because she feels she shouldn't have the right to have an abortion. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has asked the state Supreme Court to intervene and stop a Dallas woman from having an abortion. Paxton's office petitioned the High Court before midnight Thursday after Travis County District Judge granted a temporary restraining order allowing Kate Cox to terminate her non-viable pregnancy. So yeah. It wouldn't live. But he's like, no, you have to carry it. You got pregnant with it. It don't matter if it'll be alive or not. How the fuck do you reconcile that with being pro-life, dumbass? Like I said, they're pro-birth. They're not pro-life. Yeah, this is talking more about that in another article. But yeah, fuck Paxton. And fuck these states who are trying to ban the right of women to have an abortion. Especially in cases of health or the fact that the fetus is not fucking viable. Fuck y'all. In Kentucky, we have a case here. Pregnant woman sues Kentucky for the right to have abortion. She is 8 weeks pregnant, wants to have an abortion in Kentucky, but cannot do so because of a near total ban. A pregnant woman in Kentucky filed a lawsuit on Friday demanding the right to an abortion, the second legal challenge in days to sweeping abortion bans that have taken hold in more than a dozen U.S. states since Roe v. Wade was overturned last year. The suit filed in state court in Louisville says Kentucky's near total prohibition against abortion violates the plaintiff's rights to privacy and self-determination under the state constitution. The plaintiff, identified as Jane Doe, is about 8 weeks pregnant and she wants to have an abortion in Kentucky, but cannot legally do so because of the state's ban. She is seeking class action status to include other Kentuckians who are or will become pregnant and want to have an abortion. Now, see, 8 weeks pregnant, it's this little bitty thing. It's not anything that looks human. It's even under what some politicians have suggested as a 15-week ban. But no! This is my decision, not the government's or any other person's. The plaintiff said in a news release on Friday issued by the American Civil Liberties Union, one of the groups backing her challenge. I am bringing this lawsuit because I firmly believe that everyone should have the ability to make their own decisions about their pregnancies. The office of the Republican State Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, said it was reviewing the suit, but offered no other comments. Cameron's office has defended the state's anti-abortion laws in other court proceedings. Yeah. The United States right-wing court, when it said after 50 years, said, oh, Roe v. Wade is a 50-year precedent. We'll never overturn that. We won't do that. You know, it's been precedent for 50 years. And then as soon as they got a majority in the fucking Supreme Court, what the fuck do? They overturn it. That's why you don't ever fucking listen to the goddamn Republican Party. They're so full of goddamn shit. Ever. But yeah. We wouldn't have had this problem before. But the dickheads that are the U.S. Supreme Court, the now heavily right-wing Supreme Court, the monster Supreme Court. You know, on Clarence Thomas, where he wants to overturn the rights of LGBTQ plus to marry. Well, technically it's the LG. Because he don't believe in gay marriage. He wants to overturn, because the rule they used kept with certain other rulings, and since they overturned on it for Roe v. Wade, they want to overturn that one, which is Obergefell. They want to overturn Griswold versus Connecticut, which allows a woman to get contraception. That's just condoms, birth control, anything like that. But the one you notice he did not mention was Loving v. Virginia. Maybe because Clarence Thomas is interracially married, and that's what that affects. The right to interracial marriage in the United States. That's because he's a lying sack of shit. The guy needs kicked out of the Supreme Court. He has no proper standing to serve. Alright, from Starlust. The entirety of U.S. history happened within just one Pluto orbit. So that means the 200 and we're almost at 250 years as a country. In that time, Pluto had one orbit around the sun. One. Think about Earth, the planet we live on, the third planet from the sun. Takes it 365 days to travel around the sun. Takes Pluto, what used to be a planet, now it's just I think they call it a planetoid, 200 and almost 250 years to do that same motion. Because it's so far out, the gravity is not as strong, and so there's so much more of a arc it goes through because it's so far out. 200, almost 250 years it's taken it. Yeah. I just thought that was so interesting. All right. From Reuters, Belgium wants to deny entry to violent Israeli settlers from the occupied West Bank. Belgium wants to deny entry to Israeli settlers from the occupied West Bank involved in violence against Palestinians. Vice Prime Minister Petra de Sutter said on Thursday. The European Union has condemned the increase in settler violence since the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel, and this week the United States began imposing visa bans on people accused of being involved. Violent settlers will be denied entry into Belgium, and I will be proposing that Belgium advocates for a EU-wide travel ban, De Sutter says on X. But yeah, we've spoken about this before. Israelis occupying the West Bank, taking homes and land from Palestinians who live in the West Bank. They call it settling. Yeah. From The Guardian, Marine and Jean-Marie Le Pen to stand trial over alleged misuse of EU funds. She has ran for Prime Minister, I think it is, of France. Anyway. Head executive, we'll say. French far-right party denies irregularities in employment of parliamentary assistants. French far-right politician Marine Le Pen will stand trial alongside 27 others over alleged misuse of EU funds. So not necessarily just French funds, European Union funds. The Paris prosecutor's office said on Friday, charges that Le Pen's party contested. 28 defendants will be brought to court, including Le Pen and her father Jean-Marie, the office said, confirming French media reports. An initial pre-trial hearing scheduled for the 27th of March next year will be followed by a more in-depth hearing during October and November. The investigation, opened in 2016, aimed to ascertain whether the then National Front had used money destined for EU parliamentary assistance to pay staff who were working for the party. So, using EU funds that were meant for one thing, used for something a bit different. Yeah. See, something as small that it's considered big enough to prosecute in the EU and in France. But here in America, we got a dude with 91 fucking felony charges who the people still might fucking vote for because the other guy's like, the hell, even the guy with 91 fucking felony charges goes off the rails sometimes in what he's talking about. He don't know what the fuck he's even getting into sometimes. He's like, what? It's your moon and frogs and we jump over this, and just because he sounds more together, he's not. He's fucking declining cognitively too. From Semaphore, U.S. vetoes UN resolution calling for a Gaza ceasefire. Vetoes a UN resolution to ask for a ceasefire. That tells you right fucking there on if the U.S. itself will intervene asking for a ceasefire. Well, let's rephrase. The government of the U.S. It won't. Because the great majority of the candidates who are saying a ceasefire needs to happen, I've got mixed up. The great majority of candidates who aren't pro-ceasefire are bought by Israeli lobbies. AIPAC, NORPAC. Yeah. I detest the pro-Israel lobbies. They should not have near the fucking power they do. It's why so many more politicians care more about Israel than they do about fucking America. Fuck the pro-Israel lobbies. Anyway. Yeah, this shit right here, just further proof of the behavior of cops are not there to be our friends. Enjoy that little nap? South Carolina deputy fired and charged after punching suspect, knocking him unconscious just because he ran from a traffic stop. I'd run from a goddamn traffic stop too if I fucking knew that's what goddamn was coming.
Down. Get down. Get the fuck down, dude. You think I'm fucking... Quit reaching in your fucking waistband, dude.
What is the first fucking thing he does? 6 goddamn punches straight to the fucking head. Yeah. You wonder why many people in America believe in the saying, ACAB, all cops are fucking bastards. I'll call it ACAB, all cops are fucking bastards. Yeah, that is some goddamn bullshit. Goddamn bullshit.
Reach into your waist, man. You think I'm messing with you? You got a gun? You got a gun? You don't know?
No.
I got him. I'm back here.
Hey, fucker. He clearly didn't have a gun. He was crouched down hiding. If he had a gun, he'd be ready to fire it straight into your fucking face when you ran around the goddamn corner. Instead, he was hiding, you jumped him and punched the goddamn fucking shit out of him, motherfucker. Do you have a gun? You have a gun? You have a gun?
I got you. It's your boy. You'll see. It's your boy. Get up.
Oh, you walking on my feet?
Because you're reaching in your fucking waistband, that's why.
Hey, I put on my fucking
I
pants.
don't give a shit what you reaching for, dude.
He even points out, I was just pulling my pants up. And he acts like he was reaching for a gun. No. No.
Negative, just one person. I think you slick. Enjoy that little nap.
Former Deputy James Henry Carter III made a virtual appearance, which is very common for this type of first appearance in bond court. His family and the victim were in the courtroom in person today, though. Carter's lawyer says with a bond of just over $21,000, he will be able to pay it and come home. Carter is charged with simple assault after a SLED investigation says he hit Rashard Duncan in the head while arresting him, among other things. The SLED report also charged Carter with misconduct.
He hit him 6 times in the fucking head. In straight fucking succession. God damn it. God damn it. Anyway. I'm not worried about the rest of it. He paid his bond. He gets to be out, but I reckon he's still got to go to fucking court over the simple, they just call it a simple assault case. So even if he gets time, it won't be much, but yeah. Stop. Turn this on. I like this. A man in the United Kingdom tries to tear down a Palestinian flag in the Muslim majority borough of Tower Hamlets. It ends up getting in a ladder fight. Honestly, well, we'll watch.
Oh my god, I can't believe this dude is trying to get the flag off. Some random dude.
I think the guy did the right thing. The guy who pulled down the flag didn't get hurt, but he certainly kicked the fuck out of the thing he was standing on. But yeah, here comes our little ladder match. Watch this shit.
Oh my god.
He goes against the step ladder.
Obviously racist.
He's like, oh shit, I get the bigger ladder again. And here comes this guy up here. He's like, whoa, what the fuck? He's like, nope, nope, nope. And that fucker ran. He's all big and bad when he had a ladder. I have no sympathy for fucking racist shitbags. And that just made me fucking laugh. That made me fucking laugh. Anyway, we'll go ahead and end this episode here. It's already been over 50 minutes. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting these links in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.